Welcome back everybody to this new podcast. Hope you're enjoying your week. Today, Alexandre with you to show you how to use the Braille screen input feature integrated in VoiceOver for iOS, available since a couple of years already. The Braille screen input allows you to type text quickly than using the classic on-screen keyboard. It also allows you to quickly find application on your home screen or to locate some element on web pages, all by using a virtual Braille keyboard on your screen. I'll show you how to turn on this feature, how to calibrate dots, and the different modes available to use it. I'll also explain to you how to listen to our podcast using new platforms, and I'm coming back to an upgrade that was recently released for focused 5th generation users. Enjoy! Before we start discussing about the main topic of this podcast, I would like to give you two general announcements. The first one is about the podcast in general, and it's going to apply to all listeners. The podcast was available since approximately end of November, beginning of December 2017 on iTunes as well as on Victor Reader players. Now it is available on more platforms. I was able to reference the podcast feed on Google Play Music. So if you're using a Google device, you'll be able to have a full access to our podcast. I also reference it on TuneIn, which is an application that is available on several platforms, and they also offer a web interface. It is not perfectly accessible, but however, they are offering a web interface, so it might be cool to use if you want to listen to our podcast. Let's say if you are having Sonos speakers, you can integrate TuneIn to Sonos system. I've also referenced it on Stitcher as well as on AnyPod. What is AnyPod? This is a scale for Amazon Alexa. So if you're running an Amazon device with Alexa enabled on it, you can use AnyPod and listen to our podcast. The main issue that I'm currently having at this time with connected speakers is the fact that they are having a lot of difficulties to understand properly the word Canadialog. So if you're trying to listen to our podcast in English, it's not too bad, but in French, I have a lot of difficulties to access the podcast, especially with a Google Home Mini or Google Home. It's okay if you're using a Pixel, but I don't know why, but the Google Home Mini has a lot of difficulties recognizing the word Canadialog. But if you're trying to listen to our podcast in English, the best sentence to tell will be, listen to the Canadian podcast related to assistive technologies for visually impaired persons. I can repeat the sentence. Listen to the Canadian podcast related to assistive technologies for visually impaired persons. And most part of the time, it's going to work. However, if you're using AnyPod with Alexa, this is the only platform that properly recognizes the word Canadialog. Or you can also ask, listen to Canadialog French, and it's going to work. I'm working at this time to try to find a solution for other self-voice interface and voice recognition interface, like to improve the recognizing of the word Canadialog on Google Home Mini, as well as for Alexa, because if you'd like to listen to the podcast on TuneIn at this time, it is not working properly. Anyways, I'll let you know if I'm able to fix this issue. I'm also trying to reference the podcast on Spotify and other platforms. Regarding Spotify, I don't know if it's going to be possible because this platform is not offering the same range of features, and sometimes it's a bit more complicated to add podcasts on Spotify if you're not using one of their partners. But anyways, at this time I have no confirmation for this one, but if I have, for sure I'll let you know. If you'd like to see our podcast on some other platforms, you can for sure let us know by sending a comment to podcastwithns@canadialog.com or give us a call at 1-888-730-0003, extension 555, or for sure, you'll be able to listen to our complete contact detail at the end of this episode. The other information that I'd like to give you concern users of Focus Braille Display 5th generation. Freedom Scientific has launched a new firmware upgrade. It's the version 5.81-34. So if you're running 5.81-30, you can perform a firmware upgrade. This is not a major upgrade. This is a minor bug fix upgrade. You'll find all the information on our website, www.canadialog.com, and so you'll be able to find the instruction to update the Focus Braille Display firmware. As a reminder, the version 5.81-30 was the version who brings the scratchpad feature to the Focus 5th generation. And by the way, please don't hesitate to visit our website on a regular basis because you'll find many interesting information, our podcast, and also we are offering updates for different software pieces. And also, you'll find a online shop that contain a lot of assistive technologies product and software. So be aware of this. You can visit our website at any time and don't hesitate to give us some comments. And if you have questions, you can also send us an email or give us a call and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Now let's go ahead and discuss about the Braille screen input. So since the beginning that iPhone is accessible for blind persons, so I'm talking about around 2009, Apple has launched VoiceOver, and now the iPhone is fully accessible. So since the beginning, it was possible for sure to write down text using the on-screen keyboard. Two different ways were available to write down some text: using the standard typing mode or the touch typing mode. A few years after, Apple has launched the direct touch typing mode, which is not really used by the blind community, but however, it's available in all Apple mobile devices. And also, when Apple launched iPhone, I think it was 4S, they also launched a feature that was really appreciated and that is still appreciated by a lot of persons who are blind, and I know that many of you are using this feature on a regular basis, and I'm talking about the voice dictation. So yes, you have the possibility, if needed, to write down some text using your voice. And also, they are providing for sure the ability to type text using a physical Bluetooth keyboard or even a USB keyboard if you're using a Lightning to USB adapter, but anyway, that's not the main subject, or either a Braille display that for sure you can connect using Bluetooth. And now today many Braille displays are also providing a 8-dot Braille keyboard, so that's pretty cool. But two hidden features are also available in VoiceOver. The first one is the possibility to write down text using your finger the same way as if you were drawing some letters with a pen on your screen. I talked about this feature in a previous podcast when I've shown you the Do It Right application. So if you want to draw some traditional letters, you can do so with VoiceOver by going on and enabling the handwriting feature inside the rotor. But this is not a quick way to enter some text, maybe for someone who lost their vision lately, but this is there. It's nice to have for some application, but I think the best way, if you for sure are a Braille user, is the possibility to type text using a virtual keyboard, a virtual Braille keyboard on your screen. And this is an option available inside VoiceOver since a couple of years. Apple has released this feature at the same time they've launched iOS 8, I think. This feature is not turned on by default, but today we'll show you how it is possible to go inside the setting and turn this feature on. Since this feature was launched, I'm using this feature on a regular basis, and really I'm faster when I'm writing down my phone compared to a fully sighted person. And when I'm showing this feature to sighted person, they are just, wow, how you can type so much faster on your iPhone screen. But this is really amazing, and I think this is something that I need to show you, and that's why I'm now recording this podcast. And I also want to inform you just before we begin that another application allowing you to type some text in Braille directly on your iPhone screen is also available. This application is called Braille, and it is spelled M as in Mike dash Braille as in Braille, and it provides a lot of interesting features like the possibility to review and correct text an easier way, or the ability to post on social networks inside the app. And this application, the M-Braille, is really interesting. It's available for free on the App Store for the basic part of it, but it also includes some in-app purchase. So before going ahead with this app, I'd like to first of all show you the Braille screen input, which is a feature that allows a lot. And if you like to use the Braille screen input, maybe you can consider going forward and check the Braille application. If you're interested to see more about the Braille application, maybe you can let us know, and maybe I can also record another podcast about this one. Coming back to the Braille screen input, I would also like to say thank you to Mr. Jean-François Hood, a regular listener of our podcast, to suggest us this really interesting topic. So thank you very much for your interest to our podcast. First of all, I'll go ahead and show you how it is possible to turn on the Braille screen input. I'll also show you the different settings you can perform associated to the Braille screen input, and also, I'll give you the major difference between using the Braille screen input on an iPhone and on an iPad, because yes, you'll find a couple of difference. And by the way, I'll also show you how it is possible to save time in your daily life, because yes, the Braille screen input can be used in text area for sure when writing down text, but it can also assist you to find out some application on your screen, or even provide you a way to quickly navigate the web. So we'll see all of that. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Yes, I know that I'm talking a lot. Let's go ahead and open the setting app.
Settings.
By the way, just for information, I'm actually using an iPhone 6 for the demonstration. And yes, the Braille screen input is available on all kind of phones that are actually running the latest version of iOS 11. But please note that yes, you can use the Braille screen input on a smaller screen, let's say a screen of an iPhone 5S, an iPhone SE, or a smaller one. You can use it, but it's not going to be comfortable to use, because really the screen is a bit too small. And with a larger screen like the one you'll find on an iPhone 6, 6S, 6 Plus, 6S Plus, 7, 7 Plus, 8, 8 Plus, and 10 is going to be better, because you'll have more space to put all your fingers. But if you have an iPhone 5S, for sure you can also use it, but maybe it's going to be a bit more difficult to do so. So
Search field.
Go ahead and open the general
Button.
There we
Select
go.
Settings, back button.
Then accessibility.
Button. Selected. Display
Then
combination.
let's
Zoom.
go
On.
inside
Voiceover. On.
Voiceover.
Button. Voiceover. Accessibility.
And let's find from there the rotor button.
Rotor. Button.
There we go.
Selected. Voiceover. Back button.
Like I explained previously in some other podcasts, On the screen, you can select what you want to see inside the rotor or what you don't want to see there. So I'll go ahead and find the Braille screen input option, which is not selected by default, and we're going to check the option together.
Rotor. Select. Reorder. Selected. Words.
I'll
Reorder
skip
words.
all
Button.
selected
Draggable.
items because there's a lot, and I know that the Braille screen input is not.
Selected. Reorder. Selected. Selected. Punctuation.
Not this one.
Sounds. Handwriting.
Not this.
Selected.
Okay.
Container.
By the way,
Handwriting.
for the handwriting, this is the option that I was talking previously in this episode. So if you want to use your finger to write down some letters, traditional letters on the screen, you can enable this option and you can explore it.
Selected. Containers. Selected. Headings. Selected. Links. Selected. Form. Selected. Table. Reorder. Non-visited. Reorder buttons. Text fields. Search fields. Images. Static text. Zoom. Same item. Selected. Vertical. Audio ducking. Braille screen input.
There we go. By the way, I was just flicking right to find the appropriate option that I was looking for. So to select the option, I'll just go ahead and double click on it.
Selected. Braille screen input.
And
Reorder Braille screen input button.
we have a button called Reorder Braille Screen Input. I'll suggest you to use it in order to put the option as the last option in the rotor, because in a text box, it will be easier to find the option by just turning the rotor a couple of times counterclockwise, because the thing is that in some text box, VoiceOver will add some contextual options to the rotor. We have no choice to deal with them, but if you turn the rotor counterclockwise, you pass through these options, you'll find quickly Braille screen input compared if the option is located in the middle of the rotor. And if you put it as the first option, it may cause you some issues when trying to review text or if you're trying to navigate the web. So that's why I'm suggesting to put it as the last option in the rotor. So just by turning a couple of times counterclockwise, you'll be able to find the Braille screen input option very quickly. In order to drag and drop the Braille screen input option,
Reorder Braille screen input button.
I'll make sure that I'm currently on the Reorder Braille screen input button. I'll place my finger at the top right of the screen. It's going to be easier. Then I'll double tap and hold. Then now I can drag my finger
Move
down.
below text select. Move below gesture. Move below language. Move below articles.
I think we are. So releasing my finger.
Selected. Braille. Reorder Braille screen input button.
Okay,
Draggable.
and now it's the last item. Because
Selected. Braille screen input. Reorder Braille screen input button. Reorder.
nothing after this one. So now we are ready to go. I'll select
VoiceOver. Search. VoiceOver. Back button.
VoiceOver back button.
Accessibility.
Then I'll go ahead and show you the settings appropriate to Braille screen input. So to see these settings, we'll need to find inside the VoiceOver settings screen, we'll need to find the Braille button.
Braille button.
Here we go.
Selected. VoiceOver. Back button.
Then if I flick right.
Braille. Heading. Output. 8 dot. Input. 8 dot. Button.
Okay. These two options are not for the Braille screen input. They are for Braille displays only.
Braille screen input. 6 dot. Button.
Here we go. Braille screen input, 6 dots. I'll double click on this one.
Selected. Braille. Back button.
All right. Then let's go ahead and flick right.
Braille screen input. Heading. Selected. Uncontracted 6 dot Braille.
Okay, so actually it's selected on uncontracted 6 dots Braille. This is the, let's say, uncontracted, the basic one, no computer Braille, but same thing as paper Braille, no contraction. Okay, that's gonna be the input we're gonna use by default. And the other choice,
Contracted Braille.
this is the contracted Braille. By the way, please note that you'll also have the possibility to alternate between two options during the time you'll be using in lifetime the Braille screen input by flicking right 3 fingers. So yes, you'll have the possibility to do so. Please note that on an iPad device, you should see a third option there, which is Braille 8 dots, because the thing with iPhone, it's that it only allows you to place a maximum of 5 fingers at the same time. So the only symbol that will not be possible with the iPhone, but it is, but not the way you're thinking about, it's the symbol for 4, dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a way to perform this symbol, but we need to use another way to just I'll show you a bit later. But if you simply put your 6 fingers at the same time on the screen, it's not gonna perform this symbol. Anyway, but with the iPad, you'll have the possibility to put more than 5 fingers at the same time on the screen. The iPad will manage this. And so there's a way you can put 8 fingers simultaneously on the screen, so they can provide the 8-dot Braille screen input.
Reverse dot positions off.
What is that?
In 6-dot and 8-dot Braille, the positions of dots 1 and 3 and dots 4 and 6 will be swapped.
Okay, so what it means? Usually, when typing Braille on a Braille keyboard, I'm not using this feature at all, but if you prefer to do so, you can. On a Braille keyboard, usually your 2 index will perform dot 1 and 4, 2 middle finger dot 2 and 5, and 2 rings finger dot 3 and 6. If you prefer, you can ask the iPhone to allows you to use your 2 rings fingers to perform dot 1 and 4, 2 middle finger dot 2 and 5, and 2 index dot 3 and 6. Personally, I don't really like this feature, but I know that for some persons they prefer this. I don't know why. Probably the way their brain is working, but personally I prefer to use my 2 index to perform dot 1 and 4. Anyway, so if you want to try it out, you can go ahead and turn this option on. Now that we are done with settings, I'll come back to the main level of the setting window.
Braille screen input.
I'll
6
use
dot
the 2-finger zigzag.
Accessibility back button.
Again.
General back button.
Again.
Settings back
Again.
button. Settings heading.
There we go. Now I can press the home button.
Doc messages.
And let's go ahead and open messages, and I'll start a conversation with Olivier.
Messages. Edit button. Olivier Danjou attachment. Selected. Back button.
Okay, I'm now in his conversation window, and at the bottom of the window,
Message. iMessage. Text field.
there's the iMessage text field or the message or whatever. So I'll go ahead and double click on this one.
Message. Text field is editing. iMessage.
Right
Insertion
now,
point at
I
start.
should see a keyboard on my screen.
Cap X. Cap M.
That
Delete.
is right. So in order to turn on the Braille screen input, I'll need to
Cap
make sure
I.
that my focus
India. Say. Prediction. Message. Text field is editing.
Is-
iMessage. Insertion point at start.
Okay, I need to make sure that the focus is in the text box itself, because if it is on the keyboard, sometime it may not work. So to get some better results, please make sure to put the focus inside the text-headed box after the keyboard is displayed. First of all, I'll turn my rotor and counterclockwise.
Misspelled words.
This option is not available. I can't click or select or unselect this option inside the rotor settings. This is a contextual option that appears sometime. All right, turning again.
Braille screen input. Landscape. Tabletop mode. 6 dot.
Here we go. I was using my phone in portrait, and I got information saying that now I should use my phone into landscape mode, and that I am now using the Braille screen input in tabletop mode. What it means? It's because 3 ways are available to use the iPhone with Braille screen input. maybe even 4. Like you'll have the
Screen away mode.
screen away mode,
Landscape.
the other screen away, because you can use screen away the home button at your right and the home button at your left.
Tabletop
and
mode.
Same thing for the tabletop mode. Actually, if I want to make sure that I am in the right position, I'll raise my
Screen away mode.
phone the way that the screen is facing me and the way that the home button is on the right. Then
Tabletop mode.
I'll place my iPhone on the table. So actually, it should be on the table, ready to type, and the home button should be on my right. So first thing first is to calibrate the dot position. What it means, it indicates the iPhone where you'll place your finger to type. In order to do this, you'll first need to place your finger the way you'd like to place them out. The best way, if you're using the table mode, you should place your 2 index together, like near one of the other, and you should place your hand in a V. So what it means, your index are near the other and your rings are a bit away. So that's the way it works. So, like a V in print, and like, a bit, your 2 hands will be not straight ahead on the line of the phone, but will be a bit in oblique. That's going to be the easiest way to be able to perform the 6 dots in the tabletop mode. And to calibrate the dot, you'll need to first touch dot 4, 5, 6, and after that dots 1, 2, 3. So to perform dot 4, 5, 6, right hand, index, middle, rings, and for dots 1, 2, 3, left hand, index, middle, ring. Okay, so you need to perform this one after the other, approximately at this speed. Okay, right, left, right, left. And when you'll be used with it, maybe you'll be able to do it a bit faster. So without further ado,
Dot positions calibrated.
I'm ready to type. So now I can type dot 6.
Dot 6. Cap H. E. L. L. O. Exclamation mark. Space. Dot 6. Cap H. O. W. Space. A. R. E. Space. R. Y. O. U. Space. D. O. I. N. G. Question mark. Space. Dot 6. Cap I. M. Space. A. C. T. K. A. A.
Oops.
K. T. T. U. A-L-L-Y.
So, okay, in order to type, I'm just typing. After calibrating my fingers, I need to make sure to raise my finger without moving. So, as soon as I'll calibrate my finger,
Dot positions calibrated.
so right, left, my finger are not touching the screen at all. I'm just keeping the position the best I can, and I'm typing like if I have keys under my fingers. So, Perkins keyboard keys under my fingers. But for sure, I don't have. So I'm not feeling any keys, but I'm just keeping the position like if I touch a 6 dots Braille keyboard before.
Space, actually.
So to perform the space, I need to flick a finger right to delete,
Space.
finger left.
Y. Y. Space. R. E. O. R. G. G. D. I. N. G. A. Space. P. O. D. A. S. T. Period. Podcast.
All right. So in order to be able to read back my text, I need to turn the rotor clockwise. It's going to be the easiest way. And now I'll be able to read my text. Just before doing this, I just want to clarify something. If you are swiping right,
Space.
and if it's not performing the appropriate action, but instead of doing a space, it's deleting some text, it's mean that you're handling the iPhone the wrong way. So in order to recalibrate the screen, you can just raise your
Screen away
iPhone
mode.
by keeping it in landscape, and the way that the screen is facing you, even if your iPhone is saying that the screen is away, this is normal, and just put it back on the table.
Tabletop mode.
And then recalibrate the dot position. Or the other possibility you'll have is also make with your iPhone a 180 degrees, like a U-turn. You can do this with your iPhone and it's gonna place it the right way, but don't forget to calibrate that position before doing anything. I'll turn my ruler clockwise.
Portrait.
And I'll touch the text area zone.
Message. Text field is editing. Hello. How are you doing? I'm actually recording a podcast. Insertion point at end.
Great. So this is it. I can also review my text using the traditional rotor navigation, so character by characters, word by word, etc. So I'll go ahead and click send.
Send button. Send dimmed.
Here we
Record
go.
audio button.
It's done. So that's really quickly, and I was now able to send my first message using Braille screen input. I'll turn again the rotor to select Braille screen input.
Landscape.
But
tabletop mode. 6 dot.
now I'll put my iPhone the same way on the table, so in landscape, and the home button on the right of it, and I'll raise my iPhone still
Screen
in
away
landscape mode, the way that I'll be looking at the Big Apple behind the iPhone. So I'm not looking anymore to my screen. Oh, okay, Olivier is now typing. Anyways, that's okay. And now I am holding my iPhone in my hand this way. I have a hand that covers the lightning connector, which is, let's say, under the iPhone in portrait mode. And
message received from Olivier. A podcast on what? Olivier, stop typing.
Okay, a podcast on what? Perfect. We'll go ahead and answer. And I have another hand that cover the top of the iPhone. So the part between the power button and the vibration switch. So I have an hand there, and holding my iPhone between my two hands this way, and my finger are free to touch the screen. So the most important is to be able to touch the screen using index, middle, and ring in both hands. Like, let's say, just to give you some indication about how to place your hand, it's, your fingers should be the right way, like, your nails are touching together. And let's say that your iPhone is in portrait mode, you'll have a hand that will cover the wide of the iPhone, and the other one, your right hand, and your left hand will be at the top of the right hand, but parallel. Your finger will be parallel to your right hand, so my hands will not be in a natural position, but that's the way I should hold the iPhone between my hands. So when my iPhone is in landscape mode, my fingers are from top to bottom, like if I am reproducing a big giant Braille cells with my two hands, or if somebody is looking at my screen, you should see the exact same form as a Braille cell on paper. And now I can just calibrate.
Dot positions calibrated.
Again, and that's better. So if you are standing up, you can also use your iPhone to type Braille by holding it between your two hands, your two palms. And now I can continue typing.
Dot 6 kappa pop m space r e s o r d i n g space p o d a s t space b o u t space t e space b r a i a r.
I forgot the capital.
Dots cap b r a i l e.
By the way, if I want to delete the last word I've typed, I can flick two finger left.
Braille.
There we go. If I want to perform a new line, I can flick two finger right.
New line. Braille.
There we go.
New line.
I'll just remove the last character, which is the new line. And
Dot positions
I'll continue
calibrated.
typing. I'm just recalibrating on a regular base just to make sure.
Dot 6 cap A I L E S R E E N I N P U T period input.
There we go. And that's really easy to type. If, by the way, I want to lock my iPhone in this position, this is what I'm gonna do before sending a message. I'll swipe 3-finger down.
Orientation locked.
What it means, now if I'm moving my iPhone in all ways that I want, the position that not the dot calibration position, but the position related to tabletop to screen away with the home button to the right, to the left will be kept. So after you'll find your position, make sure that you find it out the right way, and before moving, maybe you can lock your position. So this way, you'll make sure that after turning the rotor counterclockwise to enable Braille screen input, you can just grab your iPhone into your hand and be ready to type without having to worry about if it is on tabletop and screen away mode, home button to the left, to the right, etc. By the way, please note that sometimes you can hear that the home button is located on the right when unfortunately it's on the left, or the other way. So you'll hear that the home button is on the left when it's on the right. This is a bug with VoiceOver that should be fixed maybe in a future release of iOS. So in order to be able to send a message, I'll turn my rotor clockwise.
Portrait.
I'll
Message.
touch.
Text field is editing. I'm recording a podcast about the Braille screen input. Character mode. Insertion point at end.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I think I forgot to erase a word. Anyway, that's not really important. I'll just find the P.
Cap O. Cap P.
And at the top of it,
Send button.
here's the send button.
Send dimmed.
Clicking.
Record audio button.
Here we go. So that's the way it should work. I also have the possibility to write down some text using contracted Braille.
Braille screen. Hint. Braille screen input. Orientation locked. Landscape. Screen away mode. 6 dot.
Okay, so it kept my favorite position. I'll go ahead again and calibrate dots.
Dot positions calibrated.
So right, left. By the way, please keep in mind that to calibrate dots on the iPad, this is not the same procedure. If you are using 6 dots Braille or contracted Braille, you'll need to double tap on all 6 dots at the same time. So the same speed than the thing we are doing with right and left hand, but by double tapping 6 dots together. And if you're using 8 dots Braille, it's going to be the exact same thing, but you'll need to double tap on 8 dots twice at the same time. So that's how it works on the iPad. Why the iPhone is not allowing this to double click on all 6 dots at the same time, it's only because the iPhone has only 5 contact dots that can be used. So there's not enough contact dots to perform the 6 dots at the same time. So that's the reason why. So, okay, I'm talking a lot. I'll go ahead and recalibrate again.
Dot positions calibrated.
And now I'll swipe 3 fingers right
Contracted.
to turn on the contracted Braille.
6 dot.
You can also swipe again with 3 fingers to the right to turn it off.
Contracted.
On the iPad, you'll have a third mode that will be available, which is the 8 dots. I'll go ahead and type something using contracted Braille just to show you how it works. By the way, just before I forgot, the Braille table in use here for 6 dots, 8 dots, and computer Braille is based on UEB Braille, so Unified English Braille. All right, so let's go. I'll put my dot 6.
Dot 6. Cap I W A N T want T O 2 SH.
So dots 1, 4, 6.
OW.
Okay, I put dot 246.
Show. HOW. How. TO2. UFE. Use. CON. TRACTED. Contracted. BRL. Period. Braille.
All right, and
Dot 6.
putting the dot 6, let's go for the 4. 4 is made by dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In order to perform this, you'll need to touch your iPhone with 5 fingers. Then at the same time, you'll release the 5 fingers you'll need to touch with the missing one. So approximately this speed. 5 fingers.
FOR.
And releasing and the missing one. Try to do it.
Dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, I'll just erase it. Okay, with a 1 finger left.
FOR.
Okay, this is it.
4.
So I'll continue typing. You'll need to be a bit used with this way to type. But for the 4 symbol as well as the, let's say, he cute in French, you'll need to practice a bit. So keep in mind to touch 5 fingers. You can select whatever the finger you want to type later on, the 6 fingers. So type the other 5 fingers. And then at the same time you raise your 5 fingers, you'll need to touch the screen with the missing finger. So I'll continue.
TH, this. REASON, EA, reason. Dots, kappa, double RITING, writing, ANNOTR, other, MEAGE, period.
To be able to send a message,
Portrait, message.
I'll turn the rotor clockwise. I'll touch just to verify before sending the message.
The best message text field is editing. I want to show how to use contracted Braille. For this reason, I'm writing another message, character mode, insertion point at end.
Here we go. So to send the message, I'll flick right.
Send button.
And double clicking. By the way, please remind that now I'm back using my phone in portrait mode.
Send dimmed. Record audio button.
It's done. So now all of you will receive my message in full text, no Braille contraction, don't worry. And you can use this feature with any sighted persons. The iPhone will convert the message into regular text. If you need also some help when typing some Braille using your screen, you're not sure what you're going to type, you want to explore the screen before doing anything, you can also do so. I touch
message
I'll
text
touch
field is editing.
text
iMessage
field.
misspelled word. Braille screen input
I'll
orientation locked landscape screen
come
away
back
mode contracted.
and to Braille screen input. I'll turn off contracted Braille.
6 dot.
And because it's just going to be easier for the rest. And if, let's say, I put a finger on the screen, I leave it there.
In exploring mode 1.
Here we go. So in exploring mode, if I down a bit
2,
my finger, I
3,
can exactly see where
2,
dots
6,
are
5,
placed on the screen.
4,
So
1,
let's say
1, 2,
now I can
1, 2, 3,
place my 3 fingers on 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will not gonna work due to the fact that the iPhone has only 5 contact point. So now I can release my finger, or let's say that I'm typing.
Dot positions calib. Dot 6, 1 M spec T A Y.
I want to make the P. I just want to make sure before writing it down, I can push the P. Wait.
In exploring mode 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay. Release, type.
P.
There we go. So it can be another way to type Braille. By the way, some other gestures also exist. Not a lot, but the gestures that I did not talk about before is if you swipe 2 fingers up.
Francais emoji.
We can
Portrait.
switch
Orientation locked.
keyboard
Landscape. Screen
this
away
way.
mode 6 dot.
Okay, it's not gonna work if you are flicking down with 2 fingers, but if you're flicking up, it will allows you to change quickly the keyboard in use. So let's say that you're changing to a French keyboard. You'll have the possibility to use French Braille instead of English Braille. So please be aware of this at the same time. And another gestures that it's not available right now at the time the podcast will be launched, but on the new version, the new public beta of iOS version 12, I think they'll implement a gestures for the final release, the release candidate, that will allow us to send a message by using a three-finger flick up gestures. Not gonna work in all kind of application, but I know for sure that at this time it's working inside messages. I don't know if it's gonna be there in the final release of iOS, but maybe you can expect to see this, and if so, that's going to be really interesting, because right now if you want to send a message, you absolutely need to turn off the Braille screen input, send a message. Then if you want to write down another message, you'll need to re-enable the Braille screen input. So by only flicking up three fingers, you should be able in the next iOS version to send out messages if Apple release the feature in the official version of iOS. Another great things to know about Braille screen input is the fact that you can also use the autocorrect feature when typing using the Braille screen input without having to turn off the Braille screen input and check if you have some mistake, or if you want to use suggestions, or it's not the same thing as prediction, but it is quietly similar, but mostly based on the spell checker suggestions. You can do so when typing and using the Braille screen input. I am actually back in an edit box. Don't worry, I make sure before doing anything that I am actually back with the English keyboard, and I am also back in Braille screen input mode.
Dot positions calibrated.
I'll calibrate dot position, and now I am ready to type. So let's see how it's gonna work. I'll type something right here.
Dot 6 cap T O N I.
Okay, so I'm starting to write tonight. I'll try to flick down with one finger to see suggestions.
Tons.
Okay, this is not the one I want.
Tone. Tony.
Okay, you see. But pay attention to something. If I continue just typing as is.
G H T.
Okay, and let's listen what's gonna happen when I'll do the space by using one finger flick right.
Space. Tuned. Misspelled.
Okay, it's wrong because
portrait.
Let's
characters.
Come back to characters.
Olivier Danjou. Cap Y. Message. Text field is editing. Tune. Space. T H G Y N O. Cap T. Cap O N Y G H T. Space.
Okay, so it's replaced by itself the I by a Y. So I'll delete this one.
Space. T. Cap T.
Okay, great. Coming back to the Braille screen input.
Misspelled. Edit. Braille screen input. Hit Braille screen input. Dot positions calibrated.
I really need to place back the suggestion prediction, let's say it like this, by using the flick down or up gestures with one finger to the exact same thing that I was writing down before. Otherwise, it's going to use the prediction, and the prediction will be validated without using the space bar. So I'll start again writing down tonight.
Dot positions calibrated. Dot 6 cap T O N I G H.
Okay, then let's try to. I'll remove the H for now. I'll flick down.
Tonic.
With one finger. Okay, that's wrong.
Tanya. Tonic. Tonig.
Okay, now I flick up twice to come back to exactly what I was writing. I'll put the H.
H.
Flicking down.
Tonight.
There we go. Now I can flick right with one finger.
Space. Tonight.
There we go. And now I can continue writing.
Dot 6 cap I. Apostrophe L L. Space LL. Misspelled. E A.
Oh, there's probably a
T.
mistake or something. That's
space eat. L A S A. H, N, A.
Okay, so I voluntarily made a mistake just to show you. Now I can flick down with one finger.
Lasagna.
And it's done. So the word was corrected by itself.
Portrait.
Now if I turn the rotor clockwise.
Olivier Danjou. Message. Text field. Is editing. Tonight I'll eat lasagna. Word mode. Insertion point at end.
All right, and it's done. And I can send a
Send
message.
button. Send. Dimmed.
There we go. The other thing you may also notice is that if you are writing down with contracted Braille, it might be giving you or providing you some sometimes strange results because, you know, when you write down in contracted Braille, it anticipates exactly what you're trying to write, characters after characters. So if you also had the spell checker prediction, sometimes it can provide a couple of strange things. So maybe if you want to use this feature, it's going to be better if you use 6 dots on contracted Braille. The other thing I need to mention you is that if you are using text replacement feature and if you have some shortcut pre-configured, they're not gonna work using the Braille screen input. Right now, I have a shortcut configured as OMW for on my way. I'll try to type it using the standard keyboard.
Cap L, capital, capital N, M, M, E. X, W, W, on my way.
And it's done.
Send button.
I'll send this out.
On my way. Record
Okay.
audio button.
And now if I
Characters.
turn the rotor, oops, I'll make sure
Message.
to place
Text field is editing.
my focus inside the text zone.
Misspelled
I'll
words.
turn
Braille
the
screen input.
rotor
Orientation locked. Landscape.
counterclockwise.
Screen away mode. 6 dot. Dot positions calibrated. O, M, W.
Nothing's happened. I'll try to flick right with one finger to perform the spacebar.
Space. Omu.
Nope, it's not providing the results that I'm waiting for. I'll flick left just to show
Space.
you. I'll try to use prediction.
Oh my god.
I got oh my god instead of OMW. I'll try to continue flicking down.
Mo. TMW. Omu. Oh my god. Omu.
Nope. So actually, even the spell checker predictor is not referring to text replacement feature. So please be aware of this. Also, when you'll be used with Braille screen input, please note that you will also have the possibility to change keyboard echo for the Braille screen input feature, independently of the on-screen keyboard and a physical keyboard. You can change this by going into VoiceOver settings and by selecting the typing feedback options. So you'll have a couple of settings, especially for the Braille screen input feature there. I think we're done for the Braille screen input when using the keyboard. 2 other things that I'd like to show you. I'll go ahead and go to my home screen
iBooks.
and I'll go ahead and check what I have inside my extras folder.
Page 3 of 5. Podcasts. Extras folder. 6 apps. Find contacts. Voice memos.
Okay, voice memos.
Tips.
That's cool. Tips or voice memos. I'll come back to
FaceTime.
my
Mail. 3,861. Stocks.
first page of icons.
Page 2 of 5.
All right.
Adjustable.
So I'm back on my page selector.
Settings.
I am on the first page. Yes, because page 2 is the first page on iOS, because page 1 is the spotlight. So I'll go ahead and turn the Braille screen input.
Braille screen input.
So-
Orientation locked. Landscape. Screen away mode. 6 dot.
Here we go. So I'd like to search for voice memo. I'll calibrate my dots
Dot positions calibrated.
and I'll type V.
V. 4 apps. VO tutorial.
Oh, 4 apps. Okay, so if I want to navigate across the apps that were found, I can use even a one finger swipe down by keeping my iPhone in landscape, or up to go to the previous app, down next, up previous.
Voice Stream, Voice Memos, Voice of Daisy.
Okay, so I can see
VO Tutorial,
the apps that correspond to this.
Voice Stream.
And if I want to open an app, I can flick right with two fingers.
91 apps.
Okay, I just removed the V by flicking left with one finger. I'll type TI.
T8I, 1 app, tips.
Cool. So I can filter like this. Just to show you, I'll swipe right with two fingers.
Opening tips, portrait.
The Braille screen input is
Tips,
automatically
heading.
disabled, and we are now directly inside the app, ready to use it. So even if you're having a lot of folders on your home screen, personally I have 3 pages, but each page is contained maybe, let's say, 8 folders, and I have approximately in each folders 4 pages of icons, so that's pretty big. But I can just type the first letter of the app that I'm looking for, and the Braille screen input will allow me to find the app very quickly without having to open any folders. The other great things that I'd like to show you is inside Safari, and when navigating on a web page, I'll go ahead and open
Doc, messages,
Safari.
Safari, address, search.
Okay, I'll click the address bar.
Address, search or enter website name. Address, text field, is editing, search or enter website name. Character
Okay.
mode, insertion
Now
point at start.
I'll go on the Canadialog website because I want to show you how it is possible to replace the router on the web by the Braille screen input.
Braille screen input, orient, dot positions calibrated. C-A-N, add, I-A-L-O-G, period, S-O-M.
Oops, we heard something weird, but the text was properly written. It's only because I'm typing too fast. So to open the address, I'll flick right with two fingers, because in Safari, if you press enter, it's gonna open the address you've just typed. So you can perform the enter key using the Braille screen input by flicking right with two fingers. Fortunately, in a text message, it's not going to work because enter will allows you to put a new line.
Portrait, address, 10%.
So loading the page.
Canadialog.com, secure and validated connection.
I'll
Display
touch
the menu.
middle of the screen just to make sure to be in the website. Now, let's say that I'm looking for the latest podcast episode, okay? Usually podcasts are presented as heading level 3, and after the heading there's a block of text, and just after that there's a link allowing to read next. So I'll go ahead and turn the rotor.
Words, characters, edit. Braille screen input, orientation
Select
locked, landscape, screen away mode, 6 dot.
Braille screen input like you've just heard. I'll calibrate for sure.
Dot positions calibrated.
And now let's try to, just to show you, I'll press letter B.
Buttons,
So B for buttons. There's nothing
not
on
recognized.
C. The next one will be on F
Form controls,
for form controls. Next one will be on the H.
headings,
Headings. Hi.
images,
Images. You should find something on L.
links,
Links.
not recognized.
Oops, nothing on M. You should also find something on S.
Same item,
T.
not recognized.
Nothing. Perfect. Oh, I skipped V.
Vertical navigation,
Oh no, okay, I'm there. V. You should for vertical navigation. And you know, you have a couple of commands like this. You can test them out by just enabling the Braille screen input and by performing the letters. It's letter A through Z, but I think I have just gave you the principal shortcuts. There's another one. If you perform digits 1 through 6, you'll be able to select a specific level of headings. This is something, by the way, that you can't perform using the regular voiceover router, but you'll be able to do so using the Braille screen input, and that's pretty cool. This is a feature that is really similar to the quick navigation by unique letters. This is a feature that you can use by using a Braille display or even a Bluetooth keyboard. And Braille screen input brings you this directly on your iPhone screen. So if you're Braille users, maybe really if I am a person who recently lost vision, need to use voiceover, I think it's going to be something that will motivate me to learn Braille, to be able to type really faster on my iPhone screen or to easily navigate the web. I'll select heading level number 3, so I'll perform digit number 3 by first of all performing the numeric sign .3456.
.3456.
And number 3, which is .14.
Heading level 3.
Cool. Now I can navigate to the next heading by swiping down.
Podcast about managing voices in voiceover. Heading level 3.
Wow, we are. If I want to go again to the next.
Overview of iOS keyboard settings
Swiping
and text
down
replacement option to the rescue.
With
Heading
one
level
finger.
3.
If I want to come back to the previous heading, I can swipe up with one finger.
Podcast about managing voices in voiceover. Heading level 3.
All right. So this way I can easily navigate. Now if I want to find next link, L.
Links.
Then flicking down.
Read more podcast about managing voices in voiceover. Link.
Here we are. Then I'll go ahead and turn the rotor because unfortunately I can't click the item this way. I'll
Portrait.
need to turn the rotor, then double click.
Read more podcast about managing voices in voiceover. Link. Reader available. The current font size. Reader available. Reader button.
Okay. I'll
Podcast.
touch the center of my screen.
Braille screen
then
input. Orientation
turn back
locked. Dot
on
links.
the
Dot positions calibrated.
the Braille screen input mode. I'll press B for buttons.
Buttons.
You'll see why.
Play.
Clicking
button.
down. Here's the play button.
Portrait.
Turning the rotor, double clicking. Here we go. So I think this way you'll have a quick way to navigate the web, and it's going to be really easier than just sometime using and turning the rotor of voiceover all the time. I think this is all regarding the Braille screen input. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and if you have some questions, if you want a private training about the Braille screen input, if you want to discuss about it, please keep in mind that the Canadialog team is here to serve you. And if you need some private support, the hourly cost for support is $30 per hour before taxes. So please don't hesitate to give us a call, and it's going to be a pleasure for me and all my team to assist you and provide you the support you need. And also, don't hesitate to give us some comments, suggestions, feedback on our podcast. You'll find in a second all our contact details. This was Alexandre with you. Thanks for listening. Before the end of this podcast, I would like to say thank you for your loyalty to this series of podcasts on assistive technologies. I would also like to thank our loyal collaborator. As a reminder, I would like to inform you that Canadialog will not provide free technical support on product presented during these shows and that are not sold directly by Canadialog. Please note that our podcasts are now available on our website, YouTube, iTunes, as well as on Victor devices by consulting the North American English suggested podcast list from Humanware. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, You can contact us via email at podcastwithiness@canadialog.com. That is PODCASTS at CANADIALOG.com, or by phone on our toll-free number at 1-888-730-0003. Again, 1-888-730-0003, extension 555, extension 555. I also invite you to visit our website, which contains a lot of useful information at www.canadialog.com. You can also visit us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for listening.